Hello there, good morning. Now, today's message is called Spectators. Now, I love Kumasi. It's my favorite city to visit in Ghana. I always learn something new while I'm there. But today, I want to share something I learned one day after I returned from Kumasi to Accra. We had literally just stepped off the plane and into the shuttle bus when a lady who had been on the same flight walked up to me and said, "You know, I watch your show every day. I never miss it." And she said this with a big smile. She said, I wake up with your message from the morning, man, and if I'm still at home by the time sports comes on, I know I'm going to be late for work. I know I need to be in the office by the time AM talk begins, and I never miss Showbiz with Becky." I was amazed. Not only did she know the show inside out, she literally set her watch by it. She had placed her punctuality in our hands and was depending on us to wake her up, get her out of the house, and to work on time. If we are late, she's late. Now, you know, it occurred to me that there are probably many of you out there who are just like this young lady. Her name is Emily Bunsu, who use our show to determine whether or not they are on schedule. Now, we may not have realized it, but just by being professional and being on time, we were providing a crucial service for many people. So this morning, I'm wondering if you have ever asked yourself, who is watching you? Who is setting their watch by your actions? Who is watching the way you conduct yourself every day? The way you talk, the way you dress, the way you eat, the way you drive, the way you treat others, the way you handle problems. Who is shaping their lives based on how you shape yours? You see, most of the time, we don't even realize or recognize the moment we become someone's yardstick. It might be the day you opened the door for a lady to pass, or the time you allowed another car to slip in front of you in traffic, or the day you wore a particularly nice outfit, or the moment you picked a healthy option at the buffet. You never know which simple, routine thing you have done which may have inspired an observer. But the moment that happens, you earn yourself a full-time spectator. I'm sure many of us have role models. I'm sure we can rattle off every known fact about our role models, just like Emily could recite all the details of our show. We become intimate with every detail of our role models' lives because we want to be like them, right? So I guess I'm asking, if someone were to examine every detail of your life, would they want to be like you? My dear friends, let us never take for granted the fact that someone is watching. Let us never forget that there is someone who thinks you are amazing and wants to be just like you. Let's always be aware that no matter how mundane and routine our daily actions may be, there is someone who sets their watch by them. It's our duty to give them the best versions of ourselves at all times. We cannot reward their silent admiration with disappointing behavior. Let's live our lives every day like we know someone is watching us, because guess what? Someone probably is. Someone somewhere thinks you are awesome. So don't burst their bubble. My name is Kojo Youngson, and I thank you all for keeping me on my best behavior. Keep listening and keep watching. Good morning, Ghana.
Well, we have to bring you the news. And in our first story, the second lady, Samira Baumia, says the president and his administration have performed better in 3 years than what the NDC did in 8 years. She wants Ghanaians to disregard what he describes as distortions by opposition political parties, particularly the NDC. The second lady says the economy under the MPP has opened up and will continue to grow if the party is given 4 more years. She spoke on Ekosi Sing, a show on our sister station, Asempa FM.
Inshallah, by the time I attend no besuno, in my first term. In our first term, yes. So Kumasi lecture na. Say you do 78%. Yes. And we are only in the first quarter of our fourth.
We are gradually fulfilling all the promises we made to Ghanaians ahead of the 2016 general elections. If we've been able to do 78% of the promises in our third year, that for me is commendable.
But I mean, the statistics speaks for itself. Obi, if you indulge me, let me talk about, because I also don't want to fall into the trap of speaking without the data to back it. In 2009, the comparative analysis. Na Ghana for no more judge say economy no. Who's done better? 2009 to 2006. Now you're among the weakest economies in the world. Now your growth, you're 3.4%. 3.4%.
That's 2009 to 2016.
Yes, okay, average now. 3.4.
Well, inflation has dropped from 15.8 to 7.8%, the lowest in the history of the country.
3.4 acres. Yeah. No, be over 7 acres. Why not bet me have more acres? Obenya home fast one more.
7 acres.
Thank you. So that is what we're talking about. Inflation. Just say prices are ebe kosro no. Now you 15.4%, 2009 to 2016. Say is around 7.8%. Mami Sisubio, 15.4%, and then we're talking 7.8, which is the lowest in our country's history since 1992. Now yet unprecedented. So what they were priding themselves in, okay, yeah, better than that. Obi.
We used to hear unprecedented, but we have gone past that now. We have achieved in 3 years what they couldn't achieve in 8 years. The cedi depreciated by some 300 under the NDC.
Virtually indebted to the banks. And we're hovering around 20%. It's not good, but it's gone down drastically. And we're talking 3 years in government. And these are statistics from 2009 to 2016. Into almost 8 years. No, they couldn't handle. This is what we've been able to achieve in 3 years, Obi. Yeah, let's talk about exchange rates depreciation. Yeah, Biden. So, Mukaya, 2017, 4.2.
Yes.
2009, President Kufuor na cedi no 1.2. And now, over 8 years, no, 2009 to 2016 record, no, movie cedi no to 4.2.
Some 29 passengers who died in a gory accident on the Kintampo Road Monday dawn will most likely end up in a mass grave. Now, this was after authorities concluded that their bodies could not be identified because they'd been burnt beyond recognition. The accident involved a bus carrying mainly foodstuff from Boko in the Upper East region, which collided head-on with another one from Kumasi, which then burst into flames. About 6 survivors who suffered injuries were rushed to the Kintampo Hospital by first responders and are being treated. Some of the survivors of the accident have suggested the driver was asleep behind the steering wheel at the time of the crash. My colleague Erasto Asaridon covers the accident scene earlier and has come through this report. Read to you.
11 of the passengers on board one of the buses were onion traders who were headed to Techiman. 6 of them survived the accident. So far, the death toll is 31, whilst 5 persons who managed to escape death are being treated at the Kintampo Hospital. A pregnant woman who survived the accident said the driver was sleeping behind the wheel. Another survivor narrates how he managed to escape from the burning vehicle.
Nkwanhyia unze hai no kwan no highway eye over speed so ka ho drivers no binum ko speed pa ene so timi ko fa accident ne ba ena enna no nso e ka ho se wo hwe eye saa eye accident ye na si ya utie omo survive ye ni bia odo se esi ye na ye ba ha ba omo te ka num ni kiremu a eye na ena ma eye return bus no e free ne kwan mu a
The municipal ambulance officer explained what they found at the scene.
Around 4:53 this morning, we had a call that accident happened at Gulumpe area. So I quickly mobilized my men, and then we dispatched with my men to the scene. And we got here 4:59 exactly hours this morning. So when we got here, in fact, the information couldn't get to us quickly, but fortunately we come the two bus, U-turn bus, and then sprinter bus. They collide. The U-turn bus is from Boku.
So how many people have you been able to transport?
Yes, for the people we are able to rescue, we had 6 people out of the total number of the 2 buses. Okay. And then 1 is okay. We transported 5 to the Kintampo Municipal Hospital, and they are receiving treatment currently.
Municipal Chief Executive of the area, Michael Sarkodie-Bafo, spoke to Joy News.
We don't have any option except to maybe find out from the medical people if they have a way by which we can decipher one body from the other. Otherwise, we will have no option left to us than to, visit what happened, unfortunately, last year, mass burial. It's quite unfortunate, quite unfortunate. We will have to work together, all the agencies.
Does such situation bring burden on you as municipal, as districts?
Seriously, this, as you have seen, occurred within my jurisdiction.
His physical disability would not allow him to have a shot at education at the preschool level. Single-parent mother tutored him until he was old enough to begin school in midstream in class 3, pass his basic education certificate with some distinction. Now, having braved the initial storm, he is in the first year of senior high school, aspiring to become a medical doctor, and that has attracted some presidential attention. That is a story of 16-year-old Marvin Otri of the Opokuwari School, who currently is defying all odds just to pursue his dream. He is one of a few students who receive awards at the school's 68th Speech and Prize Giving Day in Kumasi, where he attracted attention of the gathering, including the presidency. Nana Senso engaged him and his mother in the following report.
Marvin struggles to climb a staircase every day, falling and rising again now and then to access the classroom.
Thank you.
Often, big occasions such as school anniversaries put the spotlight on dignitaries and their speeches. Physically challenged Marvin stole the show this time around as he was given a standing ovation when he was mentioned to receive an award with President Akufo-Addo in attendance. His recognition evoked emotions from the crowd, with some struggling to hold back tears.
Mom was the one who taught me at home, so I already know ABCD and how to read a little bit. So when I went to school, it was very easy for me.
So, which class did you start your school?
Class 3. Class 3.
Class 3. Wow. So when you started class 3, how was it like? Tell us more.
That time, I was second. I didn't know how it came about. And I completed GHS and I got a grade 8 in the BCE. And then I attended Opokuwari School, and my wish is to become a doctor.
Marvin's mother, Rebecca Ochere, a single parent who has stood by him and yet another child who is also physically challenged.
I made up my mind to raise the kids on my own. So it's by God's grace and my hard work that has been keeping us going. Some people came to me to help the kids undergo surgery, but I didn't hear from them again. I really need help to take care of them, so they don't end up begging by the roadside.
The 80-year group of Opokwari School, which hosted anniversary, handed Marvin a wheelchair and undisclosed amount of money. The president capped it with a pledge to assist mother to take care of him and his sibling. For Joy News, Nana Asensumensa reporting.
Well, we have to end the news, but before we do, let's bring you our last story, and it's in Wa, where the Circuit Court in the regional capital, presided over by Justice Banforce in Japan, has sentenced to 15 years imprisonment in hard labor 26-year-old man for defiling a JHS 1 student and his 10-year-older done in the Wa municipality. The incident took place last year, where the veil of the victim was used to tie her hands and her panties pushed into her mouth just to prevent her from crying. Well, he was charged with assault and defilement subsequently, and he pleaded guilty to the former. Joy News Upper West regional correspondent Rafiq Salam reports that he was sentenced to 2 years and 15 years imprisonment on both charges, which are to run concurrently.
The victim is a 16-year-old junior high school 1 student. She was on her way to attend a program at the Nasir Bomi II Park when she was approached by the 2 accused persons riding a motorbike. The young man requested to pick her on the motorbike to the park. The victim agreed and was picked, sandwiched between the 2 evil-intentioned Moscow-built young men. They, however, made a detour on reaching the frontage of the Ghana Highways Authority and took her to the Adabia Basic School at Dondoli. Principal State Attorney at the Attorney General's Department, Saeed Abdul Shakur, prosecuted the case.
They took her to a nearby school, pinned her to the ground. If you look at the medical report, there were presence of granules of sand in her vagina because she was raped on the bare floor. They used his head scarf or veil to tie her hands and then push her pants into her mouth to prevent her from crying. And then the first accused person, the accused person that was convicted was the first one who had his turn. After that, he held the girl and his friend also had his turn. They left the girl there, and then good Samaritans came by and rescued her, sent her to the police, and from there the investigation started.
The first accused, Rashid Munjamu, was charged with assault and defilement. He pleaded guilty to the assault but not guilty to the defilement. There was a second court judge, Justice Banforce in Japan, sentenced him to 2 years imprisonment while he continued the trial on the charge of defilement. He was finally found guilty by the court and sentenced to 15 years imprisonment in hard labor.
The court said in the judgment that the punishment was because of the premeditated nature. The fact that they picked this small girl, took her to a primary school, and had sex in tents. According to the court, this punishment will not do anything to take away the pain the little girl will be going through then and now. But it was just meant to send a clear message to the general public that it will not tolerate, or society will punish people who chooses crime as a way of life.
Plans are also afoot to get his other accomplice to be tried by the court.
As I speak, we have somebody in custody that fits the description. So we do an identification parade. If it turns out to be the person, we will start trial with him too.
Reporting for J News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
And that's it for the news. But we have more news as we review the newspapers next. Do stay with us. Well, your experiences on the road will be important for us. And we know that we've had some tragic news over the last few years about the accident. But look, we just can't keep having the stories piling and capping it. Yeah.
Absolutely, we cannot.
Morning.
And if you look at, well, good morning to you. If you look at the Finder newspaper today, they put, all the figures together in terms of the road crashes that we've recorded. 393 killed in 2 months alone. Absolutely not good.
I love your
not
shirt.
Good. Thank you very much.
It's not a good time to
Thanks
say, but I love your shirt.
Well, good morning to all of you. Thank you for watching the show. If you missed the news with Roland, well, we're coming to do the newspapers. We're going to review the newspapers and do the online review. But we have to begin to, and I don't know how we have this conversation again about getting all of us aware about the dangers of the roads. I don't know how else and where else we should take the conversation, honestly.
For me, I think the conversation has to be holistic. We seem to be treating one part of it. And so, and it's always a very reactive part when the accident happened. But apart from the education, the emergency services need to be available because people will always misbehave. And then the aspect about enforcement would always need to be undertaken as well. And the enforcement will even be relating to how we tend to do road engineering, etc. Even patrolling and policing the roads, And for example, in more developed jurisdictions, there are cameras on the roads where they have the signages for speed limits and all that. So it kind of puts people in check. We seem to be undertaking all this.
But for us, that for us here, if you talk about cameras and that stuff, then that would be extreme.
No,
I mean, we're not reaching that anytime soon.
And I'm not talking about that we should reach it, but I think that what is within our reach is for all of us to bring everybody on board through a bigger national conversation. And I think that Joy News has begun this fantastic thing. Joy FM is also on board. We have Asempa and the rest of the multimedia
We've got
channels,
the DVLA, the last time I went to the DVLA.
And then we have the Road Safety Authority, the police also on board. Now, we need to make sure even service providers, those who provide services on ambulances, those who would do policy implementation, or even the Ghana Institution of Engineers. Exactly.
Most of these
the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, even the Association of Local Government Authorities, all of them need to come on board. The private service providers also need to come on board. The GPRT also need to, not just their heads at the national level, but even at the local level.
Yeah.
That is where we can have the impact.
I think the initial narration, and this is not confirmed, because as you know, in these two vehicles that crashed yesterday, sadly, both drivers died in the process. But this is just eyewitness accounts that's coming in, not confirmed by the police yet through any sort of investigation. But it appears one of the drivers was sleeping, and that's how come he veered off his lane and ended up in another lane. We have to be honest with ourselves. If you're tired, you're tired, and there's nothing more that you can do. But this is a conversation that we're having heavily here on our show. So let's go straight into the newspapers. I'll start off the Finder. Because that's why I picked some of the figures in terms of the accident crashes or road crashes, if you like. So let's begin with the Finder newspaper. On the front page, I've read the headline already. Road crashes, 393 killed in 2 months. Motorcycles alone killed 139 commuters. And then 29 persons burned to death in Kintampo Tamale Highway crash. Pound residents in Demo against killer landfill site. Also, Speaker urges media to engage experts on national discourse. But on page 2 is details of the figures on the front page. So in January, 222 were killed, while 171 lost their lives in February. Out of this, 174 were killed by 1,430 commercial vehicles that were involved in crashes. 1,286 injured by commercial vehicles, 80 killed by private vehicles, 139 killed by motorcycles. Motorcycles killed more people than private vehicles. 117 pedestrians killed. And then the breakdown of deaths in January also. So commercial vehicles killed 99 people, private vehicles killed 44 commuters. Motorcycles claimed the lives of 79 commuters, while the number of pedestrians killed was 60. The injured in January are commercial vehicles 750, private vehicles 249, motorcycles 352, and pedestrians 158. So it's got these figures, and they're not just figures being bundled around. These are human beings at the center of it. It's not the end of it. You can grab the Finder newspaper and read on. It's on page 2. And I don't want to give up. I'm not giving up, but we have to find a certain solution to this. This is just March in 2020, and we're still recording very high figures. And in one crash alone, you can have 30, more than 30, above 10, like dozens. That is unacceptable. You know, absolutely unacceptable, and we have to find a certain solution somehow to end this. Let's do the Daily Graphic newspaper. Graphic 70th anniversary launch, aim at autonomy. Speaker tells SOEs, and that's state-owned enterprises. He's asking them to learn from the good example of the Graphic Group, which had risen above turbulent moment to make giant strides in the media industry. I think he was the special guest at their 70th anniversary. So on the front page of the Graphic, there's Professor Aaron Michael Quay applauding after unveiling the anniversary logo at the 70th anniversary launch of the Graphic Communications Group Limited. Looking on are Professor Kwame Kakari, who's board chair of the Graphic Communications Group. Mr. Ato Afo is the managing director of the company. Dr. Ibrahim Mohammed Awao, the Minister for Business Development, also a former managing director of the company as well. And I just love their logo, Graphic at 70. Congratulations to them for being a market leader, for sustaining it. And this is, I think, this is one of the state-owned companies that deserves the applause. They've done it. We've seen how they've evolved, even when they seem to have gone down at some point, pick themselves up. And you can compare it with the other newspapers. I don't have to go there, do I?
No.
Okay.
Speaks volumes.
So congratulations to our friends at Graphic and to the Graphic Group as well on your 70th anniversary. I think the speaker was trying to say something in connection with what he told us in Parliament the other time. Maybe I should save it. So center spread is just highlights of their ceremony, the launch of the 70th anniversary, and yeah, some very important faces there. Says Graphic will maintain neutrality, professionalism, and that's the board chair, Professor Kakari, assuring. There on the back page, Meridian Logistics hands over critical units to hospital for arrested in connection with Sogakope murder. The Volta Regional Police have picked up 4 persons in connection with the killing of the assembly member for the Sogakope South electoral area. The 4 were arrested at different locations last Thursday and Saturday following a tip-off and conveyed to the regional police headquarters in Ho to assist in investigations. According to Corporal Prince Dogbachi, an officer at the Volta Regional Police Public Relations Office, the 4 would be duly arraigned after investigations. I guess we would get some update on this sometime today. Let's do the Ghanaian Times, and the last paper I'll do before I hand over to Roland will be the Daily Statesman. But first, the Ghanaian Times. Front page of the Times, 2 cops in police grip over missing service rifle. Allow EC to compile new voters register. That's in quotes attributed to someone, but you have to check out the details on page 17. Declining crude prices on international market. NDC, COPEC calls for reduction in fuel prices. 4 now arrested in connection with murder of Sogakope assemblyman. 35 burnt to death in ghastly road crash. So this is the highest figure that I've seen in the Ghanaian Times. We've been reporting 29, 30, but they're reporting 35. Proprietor's teacher arrested for detaining 2 pupils. You heard about this story. Was it Obuasi where it happened that the head of the school decided to keep the 2 children after school closed because they owe school fees, and kept them locked up in one of the classrooms, and the whole idea was that their parents or guardian will come for them and pay, and together I think the 2 are said to owe a little over 1,000 Ghana cedis, I think 1,200 and something. Seriously, like you have the right to do that? I remember when we were little, they would sack us, like ask you to go home because you owe school fees, but that's even like early, right after assembly when you get into the classroom, and they come around and you haven't paid school fees and they ask you to go home. Even that is wrong, because usually we won't go straight home, you know.
That's on one part.
You know Dansuma very well.
I know
because
some parts of
if a child doesn't get home, whose responsibility? Like, who would take the blame for that? Because if I drop my child in school and in my absence, without my knowledge, you ask the child to go home because they owe school fees, then it becomes your sole responsibility if the child doesn't get home.
I think even the added thing and impact to is how it psychologically tends to affect children as well. Because if you sack a child, in the full glare of his colleagues or her colleagues, maybe your parents are the ones who can pay or are poor. You know how, you know, so I'm thinking for educationists who seem to have gone through all the processes and the schooling of education, pedagogy and all that, taking children through all these, I think, tortuous moments, it's quite unacceptable, but also unbelievable that you do that to children.
Absolutely.
I felt it when I was a child. And I think that my children will feel it anytime too.
I think the children these days would even feel it a lot more. Because I remember in my case, sometimes we're actually looking forward to be asked to go home so we can go and play. But these days, I mean, children are smarter than we used to be. And so they realize the importance of that and what that means when they isolate you. Because I know some of the international schools would isolate other children because they haven't paid school fees when it's time for exams.
Yeah, and I don't know. The children these days are a bit sensitive, and we also have to be sensitive to how their upbringing is.
Yes, and that's why I said they're way smarter than us. But, I mean, you have no rights. That's like arresting someone, like kidnapping, if you like. We really hope that there will be closure on this matter in terms of the law bringing closure to this case so that it would serve as a deterrent, like we usually say to others, because you can't keep somebody's child because they owe school fees. I mean, what kind of message are you trying to send? All right, let's do the back page of the Ghanaian Times. Ghana Health Service seeks development partner support to upscale e-tracker project. GTA declares Regal Hotel best in Northern Region. Well, Ghana Tourism Authority has declared Regal Hotel is in the Tamale metropolis, the best hotel in the Northern Region. The hotel received a certificate in recognition of the outstanding performance as a 2-star for the year 2019. Well, big ups the people of Tamale, and certainly congratulations to this hotel, which is the Regal Hotel. I thought I'd give you some shouts and highlight your story this morning on the AM show. Hopefully, the entire hotel is watching us. Okay, let's do the Daily Statesman newspaper. Front page, dozens burned to death in Kintampo Tamale Road accident. We won't impede bauxite projects, Ochehini assures government. $34 million Noktong irrigation project nears completion. And on the back page, Man United 2-0 Man City. Ole is starting to prove doubters wrong. Yeboah praises Jordan for breaking long-standing record in England. That's it for me, Roland Walker.
Yeah, so let me quickly just do the daily guide. It has on the front page, Samira speaks out on insults.
Did you listen to her on Kosi saying on Asempa?
Yeah, I largely not through her.
Brilliant.
Yes.
I mean, I stayed
She got
up.
all her speaking points well, and she communicated them eloquently. That's the most important thing for you to communicate. So
Hey,
she's a good.
I saw some headlines about the question that Obi asked if her husband proposed, and the headline I've seen, it's not really what transpired. Exactly.
You mean transpired during the proposition, or
no? I mean in her presentation.
Okay. I thought you meant. When
I thought the headline didn't actually reflect exactly what the conversation was. I didn't even read on it. It was just a headline, and I thought, nah. I disagree.
What do you think transpired?
Oh, she just said, okay, so I think the question was, how did he propose? And then she laughed a bit and said, do Ghanaian men even propose? Which really, I mean, did you propose?
You're talking to Dr. Baumia.
I'm talking to you, Roland Walker.
Oh, no, I don't think I'm
So it's very typical of Ghanaian men. I mean, you don't do the Hollywood kneel down.
No, that's for
like,
white
you
people.
know.
That's why we don't contract corona easily. We don't touch rough.
So that was, you know.
Touching is not something we do rough. Cuddling,
and that they met through mutual friends.
We are kanpe.
They met through mutual friends, and as soon as he saw her, I mean.
But are Ghanaian women even romantic? Are they receptive to those things?
Today.
But you want to do that into Ghanaian woman? I will tell you, sorry. Now, also,
no. I think some women will like it.
Who? You?
Oh, me. Or the other... As for me, you know me. I mean, I wouldn't know what to say.
Yeah, because if I take somebody typically like you, I don't know, you will rebuff it and the man will get embarrassed.
Oh, no. I wouldn't do that, but I think my reaction to surprises, like, not cool. So don't surprise me.
And you are the typical epitome of the Ghanaian woman that you celebrated yesterday.
You won't get that from me. But there are people who are like, oh,
you are the typical epitome of the Ghanaian one you celebrated yesterday. Even though the day was on Sunday, we marked it yesterday. Typical. If I bend down right now, I say, what is this? And I know you do that.
No, but I don't represent all Ghanaian women.
I think largely, like 99%.
No way,
seriously.
No
Just take
way.
the newsroom.
Okay, where's the WhatsApp? Let's find out from our viewers this morning. You know, how if they are receptive to being proposed, and that what I would say.
I think that way we can spend we can spend 3 minutes and open the phone lines. I will agree. Let me just
listen. This is how I term it. I think it's dramatic, like it's unnecessary.
You see,
but that's just me.
You are not romantic.
Other women who love it. That's not what I said. You see, you are just like the person who wrote that story.
Mother,
I beg, do the news.
Dr. Baumia is a typical Ghanaian man. Simple. Samira, forget it. Okay, so we have 31 perish in Kintampo crash, and that's tragic. And we're having a whole discussion on this. Also give you some related side interactions, going to the stations. Now, medical fella wedding soldiers detained. You could see them in the process, in the videos. Quickly were detained.
I think these days some people don't understand. They still don't understand the Ghana Armed Forces.
The security service. They don't know they have codes.
They don't understand.
I think that the Latter-day Saints think
they don't get it.
Everything. You know, back in the day, if you're Charlie strict, though.
When they drill you, they said they've been picked up, right?
Yes, that's what we had the PRO of them.
Okay, when you go through the process,
the PR,
and you're fortunate to survive it. Let's see if you do it again.
I just did the days on.
Let's see if you do it again.
Guard room somewhere, or they should be. Okay, so we have on the back payroll Nadino's woes continuing in jail. Faces more charges, and we know the former Brazil international currently being held in a Paraguayan jail for using a falsified passport is being investigated for additional crimes. The prosecutor leading the case has said. Now, Usmal Legal did not clarify what the crimes were, but told Brazilian news sites, Globo Esporte, that there are indications that other crimes were also part. Now, Sergio Queiroz, the lawyer representing both Ronaldinho and his brother Assis, did not immediately respond to enquiries for international reporters. Other stories are also there, but let's go to the center spread. There's a story about the Nigerian singer dying after performing in Dubai. We're talking about Ejiro Omokinovo dying in Dubai.
You know them. Is this one of the people that we're familiar with?
And listen to this. After performing at the 90th birthday celebration of the mother of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila went to celebrate the mother's birthday in Dubai. Nigeria is not enough. These African politicians. On the other side, reduce fuel prices, COPEC. You have Executive Secretary of the Pressure Group, COPEC, Duncan Amwa there. Meanwhile, on the other side, Freight and Trade Chamber is endorsing Unipass. It has an attached picture of Dennis Amfo Sifa. All right. Mamavi, are we opening the phone lines? I was hoping to.
let's do mychoonline.com with the. Unfortunately, we don't have the tablet, so I can't read the messages you've sent. But let's do mychoonline.com before you run off. So if you've sent a message, we'll probably read it to you a bit later on in the course of our program. Let's do myjoyonline.com just before we make way for sports. All right, Roland.
So we do have Burkina Faso confirms COVID-19 case. Burkina Faso is just beside the border, or is just above us, our neighbor. And talking about countries bordering us, we have 2 now confirming cases. So we're left with just Cote d'Ivoire and then ourselves in the center. We also do have 2 men tied and gagged girl with pants before defiling her. We brought you that story, and he has subsequently, 2 men, okay, been jailed. We also have Kintampo accident. Motorist ignored a cry for help. Pregnant survivor recounts. Now, Ghana needs a female president, Charlotte Osei. On the day also, on Joy FM, we had Professor Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu who says, yeah, but she just doesn't think the psyche of Ghana is ready for it. But I think we need a female president. But we also need to surmount all the related issues of stigma and prejudice.
Okay, so the COVID-19 that you talked about in Burkina Faso, just a bit of details. So on Monday, the country reported its first 2 cases of the virus, becoming the 6th country in sub-Saharan Africa affected by the fast-spreading virus. So these 2, husband and wife, apparently traveled from France into the country. But according to the story, which is being reported by Reuters, the couple have now been isolated. Yeah, Roland. So that's and
relatedly, it's always advised that when you travel, whether you travel from anywhere into Ghana or other countries, you undertake self-quarantine. Okay? And then also you contact authorities if within the period of your self-quarantine you find your temperature rising or you seem to suspect that what you feel are part of the symptoms.
Yeah. So now we have Egypt, Algeria, Nigeria, Senegal, Tunisia, South Africa, Cameroon. They've all recorded the deadly infections. In some cases, though, single digits, but they've all recorded. We've had, I think, about 40 suspected cases. Over 40 suspected cases. Nothing positive yet, so we still stay put.
I love that.
And I think I think the message that we're sending across, the precautions, what you have to do at every point. And I see some of the schools are also getting the children to understand is the washing of the hands and getting those sanitizers and avoid shaking of hands. We're beginning to learn that culture as well. I mean, I am beginning to get that to sink into my head. Avoid shaking. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water, and get your child a hand sanitizer, but teach them what is happening. Let them know. Let it not just be you learning all the safety precautions, but spread it out to the entire family. And then the schools that are not doing it yet, those who are doing it, well, continue to get the children educated. Sometimes they even teach us what they have learned, which is a good thing. Always very good.
Are you done?
Yes, I am.
Right, it's your birthday today. Bridget Tinge, you work with the Ablekuma North Municipal Assembly. And I wish you all the best. Your lunch is on me, so you have no problem at all. We just have to hook up Bridget. Suave lady. Bridget.
Okay, just before we go, the Emir of Kano, Sanusi, has been dethroned.
Yeah. They call it dethroned. I was wondering
disrespect. Well, that's something that if we have time later on in the course of the program, we will share a bit of details. But stay with us. We've got sport coming your way. You're watching the AM show right here on Joy News. Please stay.
Well, time to talk sports here on the AM show. My name is Benedict Tosi. Thanks so much for your company. In our very first story, the Ghana FA has ruled in favor of Black Stars coach Siki Akono in relation to a legal dispute between him and his former club at Asante Kotoko. Now, after an abrupt end to his tenure as head coach of the team, the coach hauled the club before the Player Status Committee of the FA for a breach of contract. So, what is the background to this story? As Arabidi Akon has more.
If you recall, after the CAF Confederation Cup campaign 2 seasons ago, the club, in the attempt to bring in Yetzel Zakariasen, asked CK to assume the role of a technical director. He declined and in the process left the club just 9 months in his 3-year contract. He then dragged the Porcupine Warriors to the GFA Player Status Committee, demanding salary for 2 years, league trophy cash, and CAF Confederations Cup group stage entitlements. Subsequently, the Status Committee found Kotoko guilty of wrongful contract termination. Kotoko appealed and paid the communique from the GFA yesterday. They have lost that appeal and must now pay Siki Akono for wrongfully terminating his contract.
All right, so we're hoping to speak to Kumasi Asante Kotoko Communications Director, that's Kennedy Boachi, and Sam for more on this. We are unable to establish contact with him now, but we'll try and do so and bring you their reaction. So away from that, we're building up to the Manchester Derby between Accra Greater Olympics and Accra Heart of Folk tomorrow at the Accra Stadium. Well, ahead of that game, former Olympics coach Prince Kofi talks about a hard decision he had to make whilst at the club.
Yes, actually, it wasn't planned. It wasn't planned at all. Had it not been the attitude of that supporter, I believe I would have still been the head coach of Accra Greater Olympics.
What did the supporter do? That
after our match against Wafa FC, we all saw what happened. The officiating didn't help at all. We had some penalties which were ignored. Apart from that, we had some infringements around the penalty area, which we could have utilized if we had been given, those opportunities. Unfortunately, we lost that match by a long goal. So after the match, some supporters, I won't say all Olympic supporters, but like I told you, Olympics have fantastic supporters, some who even support you even in defeat. So those supporters started expressing their reservations, but it was verbal initially. So I wasn't bothered. After the match, I had to go for a post-match interview. So I did that. When I was going back, I realized that the point of entry had been locked. So I had to come out. And I came out from the main, side of the stadium where the supporters, some supporters were gathered. So they started.
All right, so former Accra Greater Olympics coach Prince Kofi speaking there. Well, let's return to our earlier story, and we are privileged to have on the phone lines Kennedy Boachi as our communications director at Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Ken, thanks so much for your time this morning. We'll definitely talk about the game against Almina Sharks on Thursday. But before that, what's management's reaction to the latest on Coach Siki Akono's issue?
Good morning, Benedict. We actually got the decision by the Athletes Committee yesterday, but we'll have to give it to our legal team to study, and then we'll get to know the way forward.
Okay, so then I think that'll be it for that issue. So let's talk about the Almina Sharks game. This is going to be the second game at the Accra Stadium. The very first one, emphatic victory. The fans came in their numbers. This one is on Thursday because Heart of Folk would have to play against Accra Greater Olympics on Wednesday. What are the plans going into that game?
The team actually took a rest yesterday. We resumed training this morning at 7:30 a.m. at the Adakuja training ground. We'll train tomorrow morning And then tomorrow afternoon, the team will make its way to Accra to have the needed rest. And then on Thursday evening, we get to play in match actually. I don't know if I can.
Is the game 3 p.m. or is 6?
7 p.m.
Oh, Thursday 7 p.m. as well.
7 p.m. But the gates will open at 3 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the popular stand and the central will be going for 10 cities. The lower VIP will go for 20 cities. The upper VIP will go for 30 cities, and the VVIP area will go for 50 Ghana cities. But trust me, we're not going to underestimate the might of the Mina Sharks. We believe that they are a very good side, but these are something protocol. If you check out our results in Accra in recent times, it is something that has been extremely impressive. But we would need to continue to step on our accelerator to ensure that our quest to win the league also be fruitful. So we are going all out against it.
All right. Ken, before the game on Thursday, we'll definitely talk to you more here on the show. Thanks so much for your time this morning here on the show. But quickly, we have to move on and do some other stories on the local scene. And angry fans of Ghana Premier League side Kerala United yesterday stormed their training ground to sack head coach Ernest Adepa following their bad run in the ongoing Premier League. They are 17th on the league log after match day 13 with 10 points from winning 2 games, losing 7 and drawing 4. Let's go live and speak to communications director of the club, Ni Amma Ashon Katai. Ni, thanks so much for your time this morning here on the show. Did it come to you as a surprise that yesterday the fans went there, to sack coach Adepa? Hello, Ni. Hello, Ni. Okay, so we don't have Ni Amma Ashon Katai, who is communications director of Kerala, on the line. We'll try and re-establish contact with him. But the story is that the fans of the club yesterday stormed at their training ground to sack coach Ernest Adepa following their recent bad run in the Premier League. And as I mentioned, they are 17th on the Premier League log, 10 points after 2 wins and 7 defeats, 4 draws. Let's go back and try and see if we can speak to Ni. Ni, thanks so much for your time. Can you hear me? Hello, Ni. Mr. Ashon Katai, are you there? Apologies, we are unable to speak to Ni now, but at 2 on Sports Today, we'll get a reaction from him. They've also released a statement with respect to what happened yesterday at their training ground. But away from the local scene, all sports at all levels in Italy is to be suspended until at least April 3 because of coronavirus, and this includes football matches in Serie A, but does not cover Italian clubs or national teams participating in international competitions. And Serie A say Italy, that's their top flight, had already said all games will be played behind closed doors until April 3. Also, coronavirus effect. Paris Saint-Germain's Champions League last 16 match against Borussia Dortmund, that's to come tomorrow, will be played behind closed doors because of the same virus. And the police in Paris made the decision on Monday in a bid to contain the spread of the virus. Another effect on sports, Saturday's match between France and Ireland in the latest Six Nations fixture to be postponed because of concerns over the virus, and the decision follows earlier steps to postpone the Ireland, Italy, England fixtures. Well, away from coronavirus effect on sports, now Leicester City manager Brendan Rodgers thought his side looked back to their best as Jamie Vardy ended his goal drought in their convincing win over Aston Villa. The Foxes had only picked up 2 wins in their past 8 Premier League games and 2 points in their past 4 matches.
You're welcome back. Now, Erastus Asaridonko's report on the accident in Kintampo, on the Kintampo-Tamale Road, which claimed more than 29 lives, is what we just observed. Now, as part of our series on ensuring road safety, Arrive Alive, we engage various stakeholders, and we want to try and understand why some of these things keep recurring. There's nothing unique about what happened yesterday, and that's the real tragedy of those lives that we lost. This is the 3rd time in about 4 years that large numbers of people have died on this same road. And of course, it's not even the first. The 2016 occurrence where 70 people died was not even the first. Before this road was constructed, this area was still quite accident prone, going all the way back to the year 2000. Today our guest is Cecil Gabra. He's Executive Director and Founder of Top Tech Transport and Logistics Limited. He's a friend of the show, a familiar face, and hopefully someone who can help us understand a little bit more of these bizarre occurrences. Mr. Gabra, it's always good to see you. Thank you for making the time.
My brother.
I certainly wish our circumstances were better. I wish. But once again, we're together because people have died. Massive explosion on this occasion when these two vehicles collided. What we know is that the Yutong bus was traveling from Boko down south, carrying foodstuffs, 12 people, and as we now understand, some extra fuel. This is what most are ascribing the explosion and the fireball that ensued after the crash to. Then there was the Sprinter, which, if the numbers are to be believed, if we are to settle on the numbers that we're being told have died, that Sprinter may have been overloaded as well. Why? First of all, why Kintampo? What is it about a straight stretch of road which makes it so accident prone?
First of all, also my condolences to the family. In fact, when I saw the bent bodies, I asked myself, what? I mean, my Fanti father was saying, Nimpa Nawa Shode here. I mean, it's really sad, and my condolences to the family. Right, that stretch of road which I have used before, I call it ruler, because it's a straight road, and whoever you are, if you are using a very powerful vehicle, maybe a 4.2 liter 5, and that is where you would say, let me test my vehicle. It happened somewhere 2001. I lost my friend who bought a brand new Mercedes and was going for a program somewhere around Tamale. And I said, my brother, just go by flight. He said, look, I have to test my car, I have to open it. And then that's the term that he used. But my friend never came back. I rather had a call, and I went. And this time it wasn't even any sort of accident with a human being. He had an accident with a monkey.
Oh, what?
Yes, a monkey. And then he just died. His vehicle was beyond repair. So the road itself...
You tried to avoid the monkey? Or?
I think it was on top speed when I looked at the situation. I went there to bring his body back to Accra. Right. When I looked at the Mercedes, a whole round light Mercedes, right, E-Class, I said, no, this should be a speed of about 180, 200, because the faster you go in driving, when you touch any object, your vehicle will have a very serious impact, and that is it. It will affect the engine, and so the road itself, I call a ruler. I don't remember the last time I used that road, but I understand there are ramble strips on it and so on, right? However, it is always not the vehicle, it is not the road, it is the person who is driving. It is the human being, it is the driver.
Yeah.
So if all drivers will have that common sense and know that, look, this is a straight, flat road, and that is where road crashes occur, I think we'll get to somewhere. But I mean, some months, I'll say some few weeks ago, I was here talking about the same road crashes. It is a time for us to take a pragmatic effort to resolve it. If you look at the LI218 0138 to be precise, that talks about speed, right? These commercial vehicles must have tachographs fixed in their vehicles. Okay, I mean that alone is quite cheaper for us to afford. And then tachograph gives you the speed of the vehicle. It gives you other information of the driver's behavior. If the driver is sleeping, right, as soon as you pull it, that is it. For now, I believe if we pick up this measure, if we don't even have tachographs, and we pick up these measures and say, look, let's have stops on that road, Not only that road, I mean, Cape Coast Road and all those speed identified roads, we'll get to somewhere. But as for that, I mean, without that, honestly speaking, we still have more people to lose their lives.
So what you're saying, that your assessment of the risk of this straight road is that it encourages speeding?
Yes, that is it.
Okay. Well,
no, once the road is straight and then you are using any vehicle, your mind, you know, yesterday I didn't even hear of the accident till like 5 o'clock because I was lecturing, and I was lecturing drivers of a certain company, and I told them that when you see a straight road, right, what happens is that is where the devil starts to work. I mean, this is the human psychology. It tells you that drive a Tiajanodo, that means that you driver, this is the time, accelerate. So the devil talks to you when a road is straight for you to accelerate. So it is not a vehicle, it is not the road, but it is always the driver. The human errors that we commit on our roads is far, far, far beyond recognition. And then so far as I'm saying this is not the end. It is always the beginning. Many more lives will be lost. And I always say to myself, I tell my wife, look, when you're making your trip in the morning, the only thing is I'm a Catholic, in the name of Father, Son, of the Holy Spirit, Lord God, please take me to Tamale, take me to Kumasi, and bring me back safely. Because you'll be doing the right thing, and somebody else will be doing the wrong thing. When we heard about this lady, what did she say? She said the driver was sleeping. And also, let's blame it on the issue of education, right? Because these accidents will continue to occur because people who sit in the commercial vehicles, about 90% of them are not drivers. They don't know how to drive. They don't have any idea of driving. Whether the driver is driving so fast, whether he is overtaking, and so on, all what they know is that, look, I am making a journey, and then it's up to the driver's responsibility to take me. Now, those who drive and are seated in the vehicle, when they see this kind of thing, and then they open their mouth to say, look, driver, Erico Speed, or driver, you are driving so fast, hey, hell break loose. Others will start fighting and insult such people. So we need education. And I'm also saying that, look, our laws are there, but let us extend the speedometer under the driver's mirror so that everybody will be educated before the trip to say that, look, the speed limit of this vehicle must not exceed 80 kilometers per hour on the highway. That makes a lot of sense. So, my brother, as for the accidents, I always say it's the beginning. We will still have them so far as we are not making any pragmatic effort to deal with the situation.
Let's look at this particular incident. Let's see if we can identify any potential infractions, any potential, deviations from the law. So we understand the driver was sleeping or feeling sleepy, according to one of the survivors. So that in itself points to one thing, and that is, the absence of stops, and also the responsibility of the driver himself to stop when tired, and take a rest before continuing. We also have the issue of overtaking. We are made to understand that this driver, who we are told was feeling sleepy, at the time he crashed into the other vehicle or veered off the lane into the other vehicle's direction, was also seeking to overtake another car. This is another eyewitness's account. We haven't been able to determine whether this is independently verifiable. Then there is the fuel. The Sprinter is said to have been carrying fuel, according to the head of ambulance service for that area. Let's talk, maybe we'll start from there. Is this a violation of any regulation?
Yes, you cannot carry fuel. There is no way you can even carry 1 gallon of fuel to travel with. It's against the regulations. You must not do it. And that is why when you go to certain fuel stations like the airport Shell and then you are holding a gallon, they'll tell you, no, we are not going to give you fuel. So there was a violation. You must not carry fuel anywhere, right? Even if there's any emergency, you need to find a solution to it. Okay, I mean, you look at the taxi drivers, they have 1 gallon, and so on, right? But naturally, you cannot hold fuel because anything could happen.
Yeah.
Especially if it's gasoline. I mean, the petrol that we all know. In case of any smell and there's any open fire, boom. So this is what also happened, and that is why everybody was burnt to ashes. I mean, it's really sad. Now, the second thing that you mentioned was overspeeding, right? A lot of drivers do not even understand the markings on the road, right? I did it with your colleague Israel the other time. If you are driving and then you see broken lines, you only see broken lines on the highway, on a straight road, and that is an information to you directly to tell you that you may overtake. I didn't say you can't overtake. You may overtake if only the road is clear. And therefore, if there's any vehicle coming towards you, right, you cannot. And that is why you always have you may. Right, so in this case, one, the accident happened at dawn. Visibility was very poor, right? And driving in the daytime is very different than driving in the evening, because in the evening, colors even change. You see red, and red becomes orange or something else, right? So if you are driving, you must have that, again, common sense for you to know that any speed above 60 kilometers at night could be dangerous. But again, what do we do to save the situation? Right, I'm talking about having compulsory stops. If the National Road Safety Authority is listening to me, the Ghana Police is listening to me, let's now build even common kiosks. I mean, we can get those plastic ones and put maybe 2 officers in it after every 10 kilometers where they can check the speed. And that's also one thing that we needed to do a very long time, my brother. Because if you're traveling to Cape Coast, we all know that maybe because of Kaswa traffic and so on, it may take some time. But in those days, you can drive freely 2 hours to Cape Coast. Others were doing 1 hour, and this is where I am talking about compulsory stops.
Yeah.
People may think, I mean, that would be a waste of time, but that is to save lives. A compulsory stops will slow you down, and if there are tachographs, they will check it and check the speed and know what speed you were traveling at. The law says that you must not travel on the highway with a speed which is more than 80 kilometers per hour if it's a commercial vehicle. If it's a saloon vehicle, a 4x4, you cannot drive more than 90 kilometers per hour. That says the law. But I'm telling you today that the law is not working. And so many people will die.
These compulsory stops, is that part of the purpose of the police barriers? Is that supposed to be some sort of temporary stop?
Yes.
Mandated on the driver?
Yes. When you're traveling in the evening, for instance, like on the Cape Coast Road, you have a lot of compulsory stops because of armed robbery and so on. That is good enough. All right. Even apart from this, the thieves even manage and they know where to attack. But I'm saying for a real fact that it is not only the police that we need there. We need officers, trained officers that can, know that, look, your last stop to where you are now, you shouldn't have gotten here within 20 minutes. You should have spent like 30 minutes. That is obvious. If systems are working, like we have the tachograph, and if even tachographs are not working, the log books are working, right? The log books, you register, look, you've gotten to this stop, maybe Kaswa, okay, and then before you get to Winneba, there are about 3 stops. I mean, people may talk about it, people may be angry about it, but where are we going with all this speed? If you're traveling for a funeral, and you want to get there very early, why don't you set up very early? Okay, than, wasting that time at home. So plan your trip. This is what I say. And then have compulsory stops. For every 2 hours, the law says that for every 4 hours, take a rest. and then continue. But then for we road safety practitioners, we are saying that for every 2 hours, at least get everybody from the vehicle, take a compulsory rest for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, then you, the driver, you give your command, okay, one man call. 2 hours again, you stop. That makes a lot of sense, and that, you know, plans your trip. If you're even traveling with, let's say, managers of multimedia, do it to save lives, and then you can get to your destination. So there are always, you know, tricks when it comes to trip planning of your journey. When you plan your trip very well, I don't think we'll have such accidents.
All right. Now, there's going to be some difficulty identifying the victims here. The Yutong bus, we're told, left Boko with 7 passengers, but then picked up 5 on the way. Where did they pick them up? We don't know. Who they are? We don't know. It points again to the informal nature of our public transport systems. If there were, like you said, if there were designated places where you can pick passengers and you are not allowed to pick them anywhere else, we would have been able to trace the number of stops between, you know, their point of origin and the accident, and would have been able to narrow down where these 5 people came from. But as it is, they could be from anywhere. They could be anyone. And there are family members living in some remote parts of the country in that area whose loved ones are missing, and they have no way of tracing them.
Very sad.
How do we fix this?
Well, it's happened already. It's just so sad. You can't even identify the faces of the burnt bodies. In fact, yesterday I was brave to watch it on your TV station. I looked at it and I said, unless a DNA test, who is going to pay for DNA? And after all, when you do the DNA, what are you going to benefit from? So it means that you have to bury your loved ones somewhere else. I think it's sad, but I think we should go for a mass burial and then let sleeping dogs lie. It's really sad, very sad. And I could just imagine before death, you are seeing death in fire. You can't escape. It's just a sad moment for Ghana once again. But remember what I said, this is just the beginning. If we are not taking any pragmatic efforts, it will happen again. It will happen.
This is the 3rd accident in 5 years on that stretch. 2016, 70 people died. Last year, 60 people died in one accident.
And what happened when they died? We spoke about it and left it.
The minister went there and cried. I remember that.
What else?
Yeah. Well, I don't know whether he'll do the same this year, but yeah, it's mortifying to think that we can lose so many humans in one go. But it's no coincidence. If this is happening all the time on this same road, it's no coincidence. The problem must be solved. We remember reports of the last accident where we were told that there was a possibility the driver was attempting to avoid some sort of obstacle on the road. I don't know whether, actually, Ebony's accident is the one I'm thinking of. Ebony's accident happened same area or same part of the country. And what we're told is that there was some construction happening and there was some spillover of sand or something onto the road, and there's a suspicion that one of the drivers may have been trying to avoid this. So again, we're back to the whole situation of maintenance and keeping our roads safe from the point of view of the owners of the utility.
Yeah, but then, I always talk differently. That if you look at the statistics in this world, and especially in Ghana, 90% of all these accidents are human errors. 5% are really caused by mechanical errors, and another 5% are caused by the road engineering.
Right. But forgive me for cutting through. I'm told that we have Ashadu Ibrahim on the line. He's the acting chairman for the Boko Mamboda station, where the Yutong bus started its journey. So let's see if we can learn a little bit more about this bus and its occupants. Mr. Ibrahim, thank you for speaking to us. Good morning.
Fine morning, brother. How are you too?
Fine, thank you.
Yes, thank God.
So tell us about this bus. Is it a regular bus at that station?
It's a regular bus at that station. We start working with him almost 15 or 16 years.
16 years. The bus
Yes.
is 16 years old.
The bus, he's a member of the station driver, member of the station.
Oh, okay, the driver.
Yes, sir. Then last year, they are using a video bus and the Hinton bus, and this one came, the Grandbed and Hyundai. His own is a Grandbed. We are working with each other almost 16 years.
Okay. So, why was it carrying foodstuffs? Normally, isn't it trucks and, pickups and cargo vehicles that carry foodstuffs? Why was a passenger bus carrying food?
That one, you see, the working that we are doing, a balance. Are you getting me? When it's a passengers, we are loading passengers. When it's a goose, like let's take it as a green pepper and pepper and toast. That one we can put some inside the bag. So because when somebody came today or he only came today and sleep tomorrow, when he see that she can't get a passenger going back, he will talk about the goose that he only ate to get the goose. The money that he can use a fuel to go back. Maybe he also gets more on it. And we loaded that one goose.
Okay.
The day that it's not today that we are doing that one. He loaded and go and came back. He loaded goose and go and came back with the passengers. The day that he came and he told that when he gets a pepper, he will take it. No problem. We load our first car with a passenger, full passenger, and the first car has gone. And he told me that, look at the goose. I should ask those who have the goose, when they will go there, she will take the goose.
Okay.
And I said, how many packs that you want? Say, oh, when he gets 60 or 70, she will take it. And I asked the people that who have a goose going to Kumasi. And people came to my place. I have a book that I'm writing everybody's name in the goose. We write the name in the goose, we get the goose almost 81 back. And we loaded him the goose 81 back. We have tomatoes with a small, this box, 6 box. And we'll put that one inside the boot. We'll finish everything. He came and he slept. Since in the morning, he came in the morning almost 6:15. And we load him and finish. I said, oh, come and collect your money. After that time, those who have the goose, we have 4 passengers inside our car. There is a woman that is our customer. He's going to Ajura Market. We have a goose, and we have a lady, the one who's also coming from Pusiga. We also have the tomatoes. And we have a lady that he came from down Burkina Faso.
From Burkina Faso?
Yes, sir.
So, and she also had goods?
No, he don't have a goods. He's just traveling.
Okay. One woman from Burkina Faso?
Yes.
Okay.
And one man is also going to go Tamale. The car, we have 4 passengers.
4?
Inside the car, yes. Excuse me. The 4 passengers we know that we put in here. The time that you want to be here, that's the 4 passengers that we put in.
Okay.
We finish and give his man. And passengers came from Garu, 12 of them. And I told him that we have passengers again, 12 of them. Don't, because we leave almost 4 seats. The 4 seats, every seat that is taken 2 people. The 5 seats that we leave for him, the 5 seats is taking almost 10 passengers. And
5 seats can take 10 passengers?
Yes, the 5 seats that we leave for him, every seat, because there are 2 pairs.
Okay.
So we leave 5 seats for him. Because maybe when he gets people on the road, he will take it.
Okay.
You said that you don't want any passenger again. The 4 in the woods is okay for him. Okay. It's my driver. The way I trust him, in fact, and the way we also work with each other, we don't have any problem with any. You don't have any problem with anybody in the whole station.
So he's a very good driver.
Master, I'm telling you the truth in the name of God.
Okay, now one of the passengers says that he was falling asleep.
Come again?
One of the passengers who survived the accident, she is telling us that the Yutong bus driver was sleeping. He was falling asleep.
That one I can't say no, because what I'm saying that I can't say that one. I'm not inside the car, but I know his character.
So what will he normally do if he's driving and he's feeling sleepy? From what you know about his character, what does he do?
He will park and sleep.
Is that what he normally does?
Yes.
So at this accident happened at dawn. You are saying that he had already traveled once, brought some passengers, traveled again, and this was his third trip?
What I'm saying now, the way I'm respecting him, the way that I know that the way he do his work, it's not the driver that will go today. You see, sometimes somebody that leave Boku today. When he reach Kumasi today, tomorrow, she will load tomorrow again. Tomorrow next is here. He's the one photographer that we are talking about him. With university. When he load here and go, she will make almost 3 days or 4 days before coming back here.
I see. So
that is why I'm saying that I'm respecting him.
Okay, so you were saying that you wrote down the names of the passengers. So do you have the names of the passengers who were in this car?
Yes, I have the lady that who's coming from the the Savon Kari. I have his name.
Okay, and she's the only one whose name you have.
Come again?
Is she the only name that you have?
When we wrote and finish, we have an invoice that we are writing the names.
Okay.
When we give you tickets, we write your name.
So have the police come to see you for the names, for the information?
Yeah, the police came out. They didn't ask me about the name.
They didn't ask you about the name?
Yes, they just came and asked me about the load that we load him. How do you know his character? No, any police asked me about the passenger's name.
I see.
Yes.
Okay. Now, so that road, the Kintampo road.
Excuse me.
Yes.
The police asked about the woman who's inside the one who has the goose. That name, that woman, that is our customer.
Okay.
That's only that name that he asked. He didn't ask the name of them.
Okay. Okay. All right. Now, that Kintampo road, your drivers use the road a lot. And there have been so many accidents on that road. So why is the road so dangerous? What's the problem with that road?
That one, you know, I'm let's take a collector. About that road, we can't know what is good about that road. Are you getting me, sir?
You are saying you don't drive on that road yourself, so you don't. Okay.
If it's traveling, I'm traveling, but I'm not driving on that road.
But do your drivers talk about it? Do the drivers say that there's a problem with that road?
Yes, there is bumping on it. The quota.
Okay.
From Tintampo coming to Tamale, there is potholes on the road again. From Tintampo coming to Tamale, that's the journey of the Kumasi and Tamale.
Right. Okay.
Tintampo to Tamale is a journey.
Okay. Okay. So this morning, what is the mood like at your station? How is everybody feeling today after the accident happened yesterday?
Since yesterday, we are not feeling happy. In fact, when we lost our brother, we share ideas with each other. In fact, we are sharing everything. It's not the one who we are one mother or one father or different mother or different father that you can say ideas with each other. In fact, the guy we are sharing others, advancing each other.
What is his name, the driver?
The name that I don't know is actually name, but the name that we are calling him here is Alaji.
Alaji.
Yes, sir.
Alaji. Well, so do you know any of his family members?
I know his father, and I know his senior brother, I know his junior brother. The father is the chairman of the Kumasi station at the Krofum.
Right. So now that we are hearing that maybe he was feeling sleepy, what is your station going to do to train and educate other drivers about how to drive safely and what to do when you are feeling sleepy?
Thank you for asking this question. You see, sometimes now the drivers, they are going to he have a spare driver. If it's only that one day, we also don't, because if it's not this morning, I didn't hear about the driver is sleeping. If it's this morning, I didn't hear that one. It's your map that I hear about sleeping the driver.
Okay.
But we have a drivers, the cars plenty, they are going with two drivers. When this one is tired, this one is collecting. Yes, after that.
So Alaji had an assistant driver?
Yes, sir.
I see. I see. That's interesting. Mr. Ashadu Ibrahim, thank you very much for giving us some more information about this, and I'm sure we will talk again very soon. Thank you. Well, that's Ashadu Ibrahim. He's the acting chairman of the Boko Mamboda station, where the Yutong bus started its journey on that fateful day. And we've learned quite a bit about the driver, Alaji, and what is known of him, and of course the passengers and how that journey came to start, and what led to his picking up some more passengers on the way. And of course, now we know how it all ended quite tragically. Mr. Gabra, your reactions to what we've now learned?
I'm still sad, yeah, very sad. I could just imagine what really happened. This is what is going on in my mind. Right, drivers sleeping. Let's talk about sleep driving now, right? See, we are all human beings. And God has created us that this morning we should be very active, and then in the evening we go and sleep. Whether you are a security man working anywhere or not, in the evening you fall asleep. Okay, let's all agree to it that night driving is a big issue. Night driving is where we have a lot of deaths. I mean, you set off early in the morning, you are going to meet death. So we advise people not to travel at dawn. I mean, it's just serious, right? I remember some years ago, I think somewhere before 2000, when I started with road safety, I came up with a survey which I did with the late Komla. Okay, that looks, look, Komla, let's go around and then sample this for ourselves, because I was doing road safety, and then he was, I think, working with MTN at that time.
That's right.
Right. We picked information that those night drivers, especially those who travel from neighboring countries and so on, listen to me very well. They have sex in the evening, not only with one or two people, with a lot of people, and at 4 a.m. they set off. And then you and I know
deliberately
that
or just...
No, it's for fun. When the drivers finish their journey, they say, look, let's take some Guinness, and that's what they take, so they get the strength, and then they go on with other ladies. Right, so it is not a case like somebody said it, we saw it, we had to hide somewhere to just, you know, tally to say, yes, we have seen 1, 2, and they do it under these long vehicles. Right. Now, let's even forget about that. But 3 a.m., 4 a.m., they have set off. And obviously, they will sleep on the road. They will sleep on the road because naturally, when you have sex, wherever you are, you have to take a rest to regain that lost energy. I mean, you will cut off immediately after sex. Now, I always say that if you are traveling at dawn, 3 a.m., you are driving your saloon car, you are with your family, honestly speaking, the chances of survival will be quite slim, because you will meet such people like Alaji sleeping on the way. Okay? Because, and that is why I like working with some of the world's bodies like the World Bank. They have their policy to say that before you set off in the evening, in the following day to travel, you must have a compulsory sleep for 8 hours. And for that period, you must not take any alcohol, right? Can we implement it? Will it work? Who is going to check all this, right? Because alcohol is also part of it. Unfortunately, I mean, fortunately, it's an allergy, and when we believe they don't take any drink. But what about the food that you even eat before driving, right? If you are traveling a very long distance, you don't have to go and eat heavy food like obotuo, fufu, and so on. 10 minutes after, and if digestion starts, you will sleep on the road. And that is why we recommend that in the morning. I mean, if you are traveling for a long journey, at least take some vegetables, take some, slight food that will not get you to sleep on the road. It's really important.
It's a key issue you've raised among the many that we've already talked about. Now, I'd love to hear from you. I want you to call us. You know the number, 0302-211-691 or 692. 0302-211-691 or 692. Do you have questions for Mr. Gabra? Or do you have some thoughts of your own, some other things that you consider to be risks when we're out there driving? There are some who are advocating for a reduction of nighttime travel. In fact, some are even saying let's campaign against traveling at night. But economically, that isn't plausible, is it? And if it is, should we pursue it?
Yes, it is. It is. For instance, I spoke about the World Bank's policy. It is in that 6 o'clock, park your vehicle. Because night driving is very different. We can come up with laws amending the LI 2180 and say, look, buses or commercial vehicles must park. You remember we had this law where big trucks couldn't travel at night and so on, right? That was overruled because of the ECOWAS countries. I mean, they come for goods, travel to Mali, Burkina Faso, and so on. So that law does not exist. It was overruled. But fine, in our own country, what are we looking at? We are looking at reducing the carnage on the road. So we can say for a fact that, look, let's really look at the laws again and say commercial vehicles must park their vehicles and we shouldn't have any night driving. Of course, others will argue and say, look, they need to get to their destinations and therefore they have to set off in the evening and so on. I do understand in certain cases, like you're traveling from Accra to Boku, where the bus leaves at dawn and will get to its destination, Boku, in the evening. But do we plan our trips? What about our own companies that we have operating? Do they plan their trips? And this is why I am calling for even what we call the proper vetting of these companies to find out the type of vehicles they are using, whether the ties conform with the international regulations, which says, like, every tie must measure up to 1.6 millimeters. Anything below that, you cannot use your ties. Your ties must have manufacturing date, for instance, if it is.
Especially because we've learned that the tire can expire.
Precisely,
yeah. I want to hear more about that in a moment, but I don't want to keep our caller waiting for too long. Martin is in Legon. Hi, good morning, Martin.
Good morning.
Thank you for calling us. What's on your mind?
My name is Martin from Legon.
Yeah.
There's one thing that I think leaders should do. Okay, when you look at this motorway from Accra to Temasek, there is this survey that I have done, because I use the road from Monday to Friday. Any car that you bypass, the person is on phone.
Wow.
Any car that I use motorbike, a very powerful bike. So any car that you bypass, there is the person on phone, either WhatsApping or making a call. And sometimes when they're even like they want to shift from their main road to the other side, they don't even show cascaded for you to know that this car wants to come into your lane. And I think this is one major cause of road accidents on that stretch.
Thank
Secondly,
you. Okay.
Looking at this Kintampo stretch, when you look at let's say the Western world, for a long stretch like Kintampo or from Accra to Tamale, they are double roads. So I think our president, or let's say our government, should at least do something about it. Because if you look at the road that they were constructed from Nsawam to Kumasi or Suhun, you see that they flanked the other side, and now all those coming from Kumasi and from Accra, they are all using the same road. And when there should be a driver sleeping at dawn or at night, we will have a very, very big impact.
Right.
So this is what I have surveyed, and I think we have to do something about it. That's what Mr. Cecil is saying. It's very, very good. When we are able to implement that, we are going to save lives.
Thank you, Martin.
We also have to look at the...
Thank you very much, Martin. Martin is in Legon, and some interesting views there. He certainly agrees with what you're saying, but he raises that other important issue of distractions, mobile phones and so forth. And he's right. You see so much of that in the city. I mean, that's not what happened in this case, but you can obviously see the potential danger that we're facing if people continue to use their mobile phones when they're supposed to be doing something as precarious and sensitive as driving.
That's very true, and I am for it. I always say is that we are wasting money in this country. Road safety itself can generate a lot of money, and I am talking about applying the rules and regulations on road safety.
So finding people and so forth.
Precisely.
Right. Let's speak to Solomon. We'll come back to that in a moment. Solomon is calling us now. Hi, Solomon. Good morning. Where are you calling from?
Yes, I'm doing well. I'm calling from Bogatanga.
Perfect. Talk to me.
Yes, I agree with what Doctor said. I'm a mother here, then mostly when the drivers travel long distance and come, they always go and look for their girlfriends. And that's one thing I agree with Doctor. And it's very, very common. So the drivers, they should be educated. Now, I'm also with, like this road safety. Last, they came out with a policy. Now, they made some of the drivers to even go for some training where, when they are traveling long distances, they'll have to pass through some tests. And so I don't know how the training went, but I overheard it.
Right.
So I believe what they are doing well. But they should stress more on the sex aspect.
Right.
A lot of long-distance drivers, they have a lot of sex when they come around. They have girlfriends in all the areas that they go.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you so much, Solomon. Right. Well, clearly, it's a much more well-known phenomenon than I thought. Wow. So anyway, we were talking about fines and generating revenue.
Yes. So we can generate revenue easily because just like the gentleman said that he's on motorbike and he sees a lot of people on the mobile phone. Do we care in this country? Even the police themselves, the military, all the enforcement agencies are doing it. You see it. I mean, they are talking on mobile phones. I mean, who cares? But again, that alone can generate a lot of income for this country. I mean, if you put up punitive measures to collect not huge fines, but fines in general
that are punitive enough.
Precisely, that can help because it's true. As for mobile phones, we'll not stop using them. If you put up a good practice and say you are not going to use your phone, and even you are using Bluetooth, that makes a lot of sense than people driving and then using doing a handheld. That obviously will bring problems.
Let's take another call. John Ayamga is in Bogatanga. John, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
So, what are you thinking?
There was some policy just a few months ago that all these drivers, especially those big companies like OA, VIP, VVIP, and the rest, should have 2 drivers each. I don't know what has become of that policy. If that policy is carried out, it will go a long way to help reduce the accidents.
Thank you for raising that, Mr. Ayamga. We learned from the station master of the station from which the Yutong bus started its journey, that there were two drivers. There was a driver, Alaji, and his assistant. So you're right. You're absolutely right about that. It's something that ought to be enforced in every single public transport vehicle that takes large numbers of passengers. So yeah, call us too, 0302-211-691 or 692. I want to know how this has affected you. This is the third time in just 4 years that we have lost huge numbers on this same Kintampo stretch. It appears that when it comes to road accidents, the biggest numbers are on this road. 70, then 60, now 30. What's it about this road? Why is it so dangerous to be a passenger on Kintampo Road? And how can we mitigate that risk? Yeah, anyway, so let's also look at another thing that was mentioned by the station master. And it was the recording of the details of passengers. Now, because one passenger had cargo, they recorded her details, but not the rest. Now, I know that we are not the United States or Britain. We don't have CCTV cameras everywhere. But is there a way in our informal setting that we can have better records of travelers, just in case things like this happen?
I think it's important. We have to move ahead in this situation and at least record everybody's name. And no, I think STC does it. Okay.
Forgive me. We're going to have to come back to that point in a moment. Have we lost our caller? I think we may have lost him. I'm so sorry. I keep interrupting, but we don't want to keep the callers waiting.
When you talk about commercial passengers, I mean, picking up passengers, now our stage transport company is the best. Yeah. Okay, right. And I'll say kudos to my very good friend Nana Kumia for putting in a lot of measures. Right. But then, one, driver training is really important. Driver training. If you have your own internal training, that is not good. Well, I'm not campaigning for myself, but it is always good to have an external person to train your drivers than, putting up, your own training. Yeah. Right? Because your own training, they become used to you, and whatever you say, they'll say, yes, sir, and then they will still continue to, perform all what they are doing, which they think is their normal duties. So you need that external training to share more ideas. So I'll say for a fact that STC is doing very well. But again, if you're even traveling with two drivers, it is very compulsory to plan your trip. Yeah. Plan your trip that every 2 hours, stop, all of you in the vehicle, because if you sit down for a while, right, and then you may have this, go out and speak to drivers. Out of 100 drivers that you'll be speaking to, 90 of them will tell you they have waist problems.
From the long times.
Precisely. And it is because they don't plan their trip. At least if you drive for 2 hours, get everybody out of the vehicle, compulsory. And that is why I believe also in the announcement system that before the bus will take off, at least get every information that you need, people's names. If you have a voter's register, pick the names, pick the next of kin, that in case of any emergency, let's call this person. It makes a lot of sense. But will the private companies do it? They will not do it. They will just, make sure that their buses are full. You could and pick another passengers. We need to develop the stations. And then that's why I'm saying that we need that pragmatic, efforts to do it. If we do not, you and I will sit here and talk about it, I wouldn't be surprised that next month, your station will call me again that, Mr. Gabriel, there's another accident.
Be a tragedy.
Yes, and it will happen if we are not taking any pragmatic efforts to deal with it. Because we also have a situation of recalcitrant drivers. I mean, these drivers have taken it upon themselves that, look, in Tampo Road, look, this is where I will speed. Yeah. So when I get to this part of road, I will speed. Such people are used to the road. And then even if you look at a crime traffic light, you'll be standing at a traffic light with a trot driver. Look, he has studied the green light so well that as it is red, he has started moving because he knows that the next thing is that green is going to change. So the problems will be there. Recalcitrant drivers needs to be dealt with.
In the end, it's always the driver. It's always the driver. It's not the car, it's not the road. It's always the driver. Mr. Cecil Gabra, I want to thank you so much for your time with us. Now, we're going to take a quick break. We need to hear from our partners who helped make this show possible. But when we come back, we're still on the matter. We'll be hearing from Roland, who has been speaking with some of the drivers of these commercial vehicles. And no doubt he's going to be putting some of the questions that Mr. Gabra has raised to them. Stay with us. It's the AM show. We're back after this. You're welcome back. Now, what does 70 years mean to you? Old and past its prime? Well, for our friends at Graphic, it's a celebration of 7 decades of excellence, rich experiences with great achievements. And they've done it all together with you, their readers, advertisers, clients, agencies, partners, regulator, supplier, and of course, the entire nation. Graphic Communications Group Limited is 70 years, and they're thankful to God and of course to you. So why don't you come and celebrate with them? Truth and accuracy every day. All right, so let's get back to the matter. And today we are talking about that tragic Kintampo accident. Anywhere between 29 and 35 people are believed to have died in that accident. And we're trying to understand what sort of driver behavior may be leading to these accidents, particularly on that stretch. Now, Roland Walker has been engaging drivers at the Neoplan station on this issue. Let's catch up with him now and find out what he's learned.
The GPR2 supervisors right here, and I will be speaking to a number of them. But what's your name, sir?
I'm Otis.
Otis. And you work with the GPR2?
Yes, please.
And I'm sure that you've worked with as a transporter with all these drivers over the period, won't you say?
Yeah, we've been working with them for some time now.
Okay. And then I also have a number of officials here. Brad, on the member didn't come out to say.
Yes, I don't know
Great. Your friend saying?
A friend Bishop.
Bishop. So that's the Bishop of the Neoplan. This is the Neoplan station, right? Of the Neoplan. Bishop Obinim. What's your friend saying?
Not fully.
Not fully. Okay, so, but let me start with you. If you can just, so that we can get a proper view of you and give space to Nano for you also to be within the frame. What sort of, as GPR2 education do you give all these drivers, the porters and their mate, etc.?
Thank you. First of all, we would like to say GPR2, we run programs for them. Just like last week, there were road safety was here to organize a course, a refresher course for all the drivers, just last week. Then next week, we also have another program for we, the executives and our drivers. We always try to advise them, guide them. You see, when they load from this terminal and they are on the road, they are on their own. But calls and other stuff comes in, which we do call drivers. If they are driving bad on the road, we do call them back to correct them.
So what you're saying is that sometimes you get some responses from the passengers?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Now, let me just avert your mind to the Kintampo accident, and is the newest we have currently. But we know that we've been consistent with the accident, and since January up to now, they've just been piling up. Usually, as an administrator, somebody who interacts and supervises with the drivers, when you hear of such news, what comes to mind?
It's always sad because you never know. I myself, I might be a transporter, but my wife and my children might be on the road traveling. And when this happens to them, whether you are a transporter or any other, you feel bad because you don't know the people on board. It might be a brother of mine, a sister of mine. So when it happens, first of all, it affects us emotionally as human. Then you look at the losses. Somebody will be a breadwinner in the car. What is the children going to do? He has a wife or he has a husband. He's gone now. Maybe he's the breadwinner of the family. what are the children going to do? So we normally think about that part before we look at the other stuff.
Yeah, because it's a tragic news. But let me go to Bishop. Bishop, you can speak in any other language, but say training say akwehie sana te say enrade yi say na ahomache de no esi wo kentampo kwan no so no eya mote sana e de na ba modwem as a moye driver for porters ne mate for ne sa anyama no
me ade ba kwan ya na me hu no say ensem ba bi say na say ye ka bibi efa nkwanhia no ho ana se ne ema esia me hu no say enya ade e ko ba bia ye drivers no de ye ka ya sema ye be ka bie ne wa ase e ko ba bia ba senka mutie de ye nso ye ka no so a na aban no e boa ye ne a efi se nka enema betimi atotoye efi se wohwe bibi ti se drivers a yisu buses na dodo na hono ma entu o mka wo so ho entu o mka enam se driver fo ni kama fo ni no obia ni hono ma oboa drivers de bia asem no ba ya na mo yi agu driver fo so hwe from Accra to Boko na driver ni ba akopɛ o sister nanim na o ko Boko
nanka opesanke yeah and he is saying that when the incident happened, it looks like those who are heads of authority, and I'm sure even the media is also included because it's a broader conversation when some of these accidents do happen, don't seem to talk for the drivers. Then he zoomed in or transitioned into a discussion about how drivers sometimes are not well paid, and he gave an example of how a driver alone would have to sit in a big bus and drive all the way to Boko, for example. Now, sad driver Nino own person you don't want the driver to be the lone driver in that bus.
Say yemra no ana ye nyina akire bianka driver need yanka we use car for 4 hours at least also to rest and sana bia wato waso. So ye hase drivers no ye ni sa problem no because ye yenya rest ankasa oba ya ohwe manim kura otum se me da sori ya na one me e ka say yen new plan ankasa no ye ni sa problem no but ye wo different stations a omo wo sa problem na omo no omo ba bi on ma onna na obenante sa yenso ya say yen panifo no kura na wa na omo mpene ma onfa oka no kura nya de emisim yem frɛ kura so na de na me ka no a say ya nwie no se driver free action no woko Boko a ni sika ya de mano no esua ni sika ono ankasa benya ewo bia ne potom no esua enti ukaka so onko fa spare driver bi na o meka ho na wone no mienu nko na oduru kwan mu na wo bra o de ama na sika pen o de be ma no wanya bi so de ama ne mate mi why bo so me so a yentua na ka woni ayibia social security ayibia wonmo nti se hwe yadwuma no so a ye no so yadwuma edin pa enso sa ne ma wenim nyina no yenya ban bia ne yenim se kofo ebaye no na yenim se sa ne ma no betimi ayeye because oba and the way we see start lances no ne ma ne yenim se nya ade a wo ye small guy anase obi a woni experience bia wo ye ya obetimi de ye fene say basket yesa no akokwan so ana say unyi experience bia untimi nyusu sa bas no but all the way say utwem a eno no what start ye ne enum si ye benya ne ma kakra wo ho but ni nyina no etigui so ya kwan nye driver ni be ka kwan ho asem a nya de a obia befa obia ntie ayifo abase ye me ne o masua de bebrebe but ya nte ho asem biem Tambia na drivers nenya o problem tambia drivers no problem sade na ye kanu ye woni ma bi se passenger wotike ni mu a obetimi a driver sa na driver unwane na da wutu hwa so na jendie akora kitikiti kura no person ka fon driver no simple because ye ni asembia ye beka se driver ni tistia na ni mu a nanka menam kura won kwa ede kwa wosanka wo ma me yusu ma adwen ba obi tie tire obekeka nkosesem saa ye ni asem bia be ka kire no was saying that timid ma police e wo kwam na ka police ne discipline no na ye ahyenso ana de bia abeboa ma obia otikam bia hu say driver na otikam no also respect him.
So basically what Bishop is saying is that the drivers don't have spokespeople or don't have their rights protected in a way, or don't have the right sort of advocacy by way of the emolument, and he's complaining that they are not paid, sometimes even at the end of the month. And he says that even though this may not be an across-board feature, for example, here at New Plan, it is something that is symptomatic of the industry. And then you have a bus, a big bus such as this, for example, and the camera will show you some of these long buses. You have only a driver, and are taking a long journey from here to Tamale, Bokuwa, and it's only one driver. He is advocating at least if they could have even a spare driver, and that will be a policy at the national level, and so no transporter or transport owner could flout it. That would also help. And then the other thing is that sometimes they are not giving the opportunity to concentrate. And this time, he's faulting the passengers to enable them drive safely when they're on the road. And then sometimes, too, they don't get the time to rest, he says. Even though he says, New Plan, they are okay with that. Now, let me go.
Yeah, well, that's a little bit of what Roland has been learning from the drivers. And it's another side. It's another look at the other side of this, Mama V. You know, particularly, I was shocked to learn about their wages and how it makes it impossible for anyone to have a driving as their only job.
Exactly. Exactly. I think we have to now, you know, if we want to look at the core of the issue, I guess this is it. We're getting somewhere now, and we need to address that, because you can't have a driver drive that long distance and also have a second job. So are you taking care of a shop? Are you like a shop attendant or managing another facility, and then at night you go and drive? You need rest, and you can't cheat on that.
That's true.
Yeah, so we have to somehow must start that conversation of fixing the problem. This time, the attention, the focus is not just the road, because that's what we've done. What kind of road? Has it got indicators so that, you know, if you get there, because we've identified some spots, hot spots, danger spots. But now we have to look also at the people who sit behind the steering and take care of them so that they can do the right thing.
Absolutely. And I mean, this Kintampo accident is going to generate so much more conversation from us. There are so many other aspects of this to discuss. We're hearing reports from the National Ambulance Service Director for that area that the Sprinter had fuel. They were carrying some container of fuel in the Sprinter.
That would explain
the fireball.
Exactly.
You know, and I mean, these are all issues we have to talk about. It's illegal to do this. I mean,
Did
you
they
can't
go
even
through checkpoints before?
And which filling station sold it to them? You know, because you are not allowed to put fuel into anything other than a vehicle at a filling station. You can't bring a gallon. It's not. It's all illegal.
But we see it all the time. I
Absolutely.
see 1 gallon people get down to and buy fuel in a gallon.
And they carry it on motorbikes. This is all deadly, dangerous stuff. And clearly, we've seen the impact of it in this accident.
I think what is annoying is not the word. I don't want to use annoying. The fact that these issues come up only when there's an incident, when there's an accident. And in these days, we're not recording. Even if you lost one life, that would be big news. We're recording greater numbers. We get to hear of these things. People are simply not doing their jobs.
It's not right.
Yeah.
It's not right.
Well, we have to talk about something that excites all of us. Every year in March, we celebrate Ghana. It's Ghana Month. Our feature today is from the Upper East town of Paga. You may have heard of its crocodile pond, where tourists can get to touch and even sit on those friendly crocodiles. But there's a lot more you may not be aware of as far as these crocodiles and the land of Paga are concerned. For instance, did you know that there are 2 of these ponds with hundreds of friendly crocodiles that tourists can visit in Paga? Well, here's our correspondent Albert Sorry with a lot more to learn in Ghana Month.
Tourists come from all over the world to Paga here in the Kasna-Nankana West District of the Upper East Region to see these friendly crocodiles. Today, I have decided to be one of the tourists. This is the Zenga Crocodile Pond, one of the 2 ponds used as tourist sites here in Paga. It is a weekday, so I am the only visitor here at the moment. I meet Salifu Awewazem, the tour guide.
We got about 12 ponds in Paga here, which is this is Zenga Pond, and there's another one, Chief Pond. There's another 2 ponds at Pagabatuno, 2 ponds at Navio area, 1 pond at Saka, 1 pond at Pagachania, and another one at Nania, where the people come from. Also, there are about 5 ponds around Kajulu area.
I purchased 2 chickens at 15 Ghana cedis each to be given as reward to the 2 crocodiles that will be called out of the pond. I see several crocodiles, some floating on the water, others lying about on the shores. The crocodile with which I can play and take photographs is called out of the water. It is trained for the purpose of posing with humans for pictures. But guess what? I am told it is almost 100 years old.
This crocodile is one of the biggest one and the most friendly crocodile in Paga here. He is one of the oldest and the most friendly crocodile in Paga here. How old? It's about 99 years old. Our grandfathers worked here before, so every year they have been told the ages. Anyone who is working here will be continue counting the years. When for instance, if you had decided not to work here, the one who is going to represent me, I'm going to transfer the same information to that person. Yeah.
To assure me that the crocodile is harmless, Salifu sits on its back to tell me the history of how these crocodiles came to be here in the land of Paga.
Yeah, they are here because they saved the life of the founder of this town, who was a hunter. One day, this man went to the bush to hunt. All his water and food he took along with him got finished. And he was thirsty. Though he was thirsty, there was no way he could get water to drink. He sat under a tree when he saw one crocodile pass him. And he realized that crocodile don't stay anywhere apart from water. So he followed it gradually to when he entered a hole where there is water. He fed the water and drank and filled some of his containers, and he started hunting again. When he finished hunting, coming back home, he met a river. The river was flooded. It has rained that day. And there was no way this man could cross this river. As he was standing there, you saw the same crocodile just cross the river. And those days, hunters do spoke of animals. This man spoke to it, and he heard a crocodile tail, and the crocodile pulled him across the river. When he came back home, he narrated all what has happened to his family members, and they decided to consult the Sissoya, because those crocodiles were wild. They were killing them, they were taking the meat of them, and crocodiles were also wild to human beings those days. And the Sissoya confirmed that you shouldn't attempt to kill a crocodile because the crocodile saved his life. And it happened that this man had a quarrel with his family members back at Burkina Faso, a village called Kampala, and he decided to look for a place to settle. He started from Burkina Faso, walked towards here. When he gets here, he says, Ayi Pagayo. In our language, it means my eye lie this place. This is where you see Allah, this is where he settled. When he settled here for a few years later, he was hunting around. He met a small water line. He saw 2 crocodiles lying in this water. He quickly went to the Sissoya again, and the Sissoya confirmed that the crocodile that saved his life for the past years come to stay with him. So he shouldn't make an attempt to kill any crocodile. He should rather protect them. From there, he vowed not to take a meat of it or killing it. From there, we also follow that tradition up to now. When they die, we bury them like the way we bury ourselves. And every year, they have been reproducing. That is why there are not many in Paga here. When they are about to lay their eggs, they come to our houses where we dump the refuse, the bola. They dig under of them, they lay their eggs or the size of the river bank.
It is my turn to sit on the crocodile.
Okay, it's really rough,
and you can actually sit on it like a normal pet, and the assurance is that they will never do anything to you. These crocodiles are that friendly. So this is the, okay, whoa, okay.
The crocodile is then given the chicken as a reward.
So you can come closer. Come quickly. Don't worry.
The second crocodile, although it can pose with humans for photographs, is also trained to stand on its hind limbs to entertain visitors.
Okay.
The other pond here in Paga is the Chief's Crocodile Pond. According to Isahaku Mahama, the tour guide here, this was the first ever crocodile pond in Paga.
This is the Chief Crocodile Pond. It happens to be the main crocodile pond in the town. Even in Paga here, if you happen to be a stranger and you are coming to live here for some time, or you are passing by, you know about these crocodiles.
Unlike the Zenga Pond, the Chief's Crocodile Pond is situated close to the road on the way into the Paga Township and therefore tends to have more visitors. At the time of my visit for this report, it was afternoon already, and because it was also a weekday, no visitors were present at the time. Isahaku also gave me some interesting facts about
Amazing, incredible. Would I want to try sitting on one of those friendly crocodiles? I don't know, man.
What are you afraid of?
Did you see the way Albert moved at the point when he got up in there? Crocodile was, Charlie. But I could try it.
I might try it, but I won't recommend it for you. Me, I'm not as delicious as you, so I might survive, but you might not come back. Crocodiles have taste.
Listen, here's something exciting that's also happening is Afajato Conquers on Joy. If you missed the first bit, well, it's still Ghana month and there are still adventures that you can partake in. This one is happening just on the 14th of March. You've got to register. It's only 250 Ghana cedis by 12th of March, so you can participate in this weekend's activity.
Is that Akpele?
So
is that Akpele on the poster?
Well, that's Banku, eh?
It's Banku.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's worth the trip.
Absolutely.
I mean, I would pay the 250 just for that. Everything else can be a bonus.
The destination is Hohoi, but Afajato and the Vliet Waterfalls, those will be the side attractions. The package includes transportation, the tours, tour guide, breakfast, and lunch, and it's better when you do it with other people. So if you haven't done the climbing, maybe you want to go on a second adventure, it's always better to do it more than once. So please make sure you register.
I was lucky enough to do this with the Ghana Grand. It was wonderful.
You
wonderful.
had such fun on that tour.
Yeah, so I recommend it. I absolutely recommend it.
And it's actually something that stays with you for a very, very long time. Just before I bring the showbiz, though, I have a special birthday dedication in Roland's voice. Happy birthday, Flora Benlu of the Ghana Immigration Service in Boko. Is coming from Mrs. Salifu Combat. To you, Flora Benlu of the Ghana Immigration Service in Boko. Enjoy your birthday. We've got show business with Becky coming up right here on the show. Good morning. Let's talk some showbiz here on the AM show. Award-winning actress Rosalind Ngiza wants investors to come to the aid of the Ghanaian movie industry. The actress argues that the only thing left for the industry is investor support because actors and producers are playing their part.
Yes, we are. Genuinely speaking, it's not as if we don't know our jobs, or it's not as if we don't know how to create very good content, but these content come with costs. I mean, it's money. That's it. So we always try to make do with the little we have so that the industry doesn't go off. Doesn't mean we can't do. No, we can. For instance, on set, we had BBC come to interview. I think Forbes at a point in time came. There's this movie, what's the title? Away Bus. We had foreign people come to interview us, and they don't just walk and come to any set and interview. Trial of Kojo, Burial of Kojo. Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of movies that are doing well.
Now, music legend Kojo Ntwi says fans should expect more hit songs from him because the best is yet to come. Speaking in an interview with Joy Prime, the musician said, though he has a lot of timeless music to his credit, he is still working toward getting fans the best of him.
The best is yet to come. I mean, what I did is there, but a lot more is coming, a lot more. I believe the songs that, you know, I enjoy the songs most when it is not out yet. The moment it's out, it's for the people. I enjoy the ones that are not out yet.
Why is that so?
Well, I don't know, but that's how it feels like. The moment it hits the market, it's for you. The one that I'm working on right now are the ones that I'm enjoying much more. And so I don't listen to the songs that I've already released. I don't listen to it. When I'm around, I don't want it played. I don't want them played.
But those are the songs that people are really enjoying.
Oh, I enjoy them as well. But they mean I'm on a journey. And that's, you know, those are the steps that, you know, the bridges, you know, so I keep on building more steps to get higher in different.
Right, well, I guess that's where we put a pin on today's show.
Absolutely.
Yes. I miss you.
No, you didn't. No, you don't. You don't want me to say what you just did.
I know, I've used. Well, it's been fun. We're back tomorrow with more. Thank you and bye.